Once again, you're welcome to the Sydney Table Talk Show. This is the third edition of the Ogiamien of Benin Nation versus the OBA of Benin. Don't say this man don't come again. No. We must try to get to the bottom of history because it is important. It is important because we must know where we come from. Knowing where we come from will help us in love, in organizing ourselves and making ourselves a more proud people. I was reading an article where Oba Akiolu of Lagos, he made a statement, and believe me, that statement resonated in the crisis between the Ogiamien and the Oba of Benin. Akiolu is being dragged to court by his siblings because they said he is not the right person, or his family is not the right family to present the Oba. The argument is not the status quo of the Oba of Lagos, but here Oba Akiolu, he said, the price recommendation or the price commission's recommendations, which is over 100 years old, is still valid up till date. This is where the Ogiamien and the Oba of Benin comes in. In the price recommendation of a chieftaincy affairs institution in the former Western region, which Benin was part of, it was recommended that the British would not change the traditional institution structure or traditional institutional structure that they met on the ground. Because what actually happened was that before the invasion of Benin in 1897, the British had a different perception of the powers of the Oba of Benin. They saw him as a very powerful king who was totally in control. So the invasion gave a different story about the Oba. The British started their invasion from two fronts. They came through the eastern front, passing through the Lobo River, crossing through Sapomba. Benin, they came through the Benin Nation, and they made no resistance because the Ogiamien had no problems with the British. But the British never knew that the Oba of Benin had no control over that territory. So when they invaded through that territory, they met no resistance. And by the time they got to the center of that Benin kingdom, they met the palace of the Ogiamien still standing. The invasionary forces that came through the western flank, which is Uwoto, now in Ovia local government area, met a pocket of resistance. Of course, it took them 7 days to get to the palace at Ube. So seeing this very particular scenario, the British decided to sit down, to get down to work and get these two palaces and hear their story. The British were meant to understand that the Ogiamien is a traditional owner of the ancient Benin kingdom, which is Ohumi Domo. And the Oba of Benin was just a tenant and part of the ancient Igodo kingdom, starting from Sapomba Road towards the Ovia flank, while the Ogiamien owns Utata, starting from Sapomba Road to Ekiokpagha. Now, we are not going to be saying things that people will always want to be very sentimental about, but we would always throw one or two things that will make each and every one of us go back to memory lane. There is nowhere in Ekiokpagha, in Hode, in Obaoka, in Oredo East, that the British were confronted. The British were confronted in the Ovia local government. The British were confronted right at Ring Road, where you have the Oba's Palace. The British were never confronted where you have the Ogiamien's Palace. They were never confronted through Ikpe River, Olobo, where they passed through. So what the British did was to draft this into law. And this law was passed to the federal government upon independence because the British decided to keep the structure how they met them. Because the British did not make Benin Kingdom completely the Oba of Benin. The British met Benin Kingdom divided in two. One is called Benin Kingdom, the other one is called Utanta. Now, we've said this. Another thing that will make us think let us be honest with ourselves. If the Oba of Benin actually defeated Ogiamien, as it is being propagated, then why would the Oba of Benin, who defeated Ogiamien, would allow the Ogiamien to keep his palace, would allow the Ogiamien's palace to remain the oldest palace in Benin City, would allow the Ogiamien palace to remain the architectural base of the Benin nation, because the Oba's palace is a copyright of the Ogiamien's palace. The Ogiamien's palace is the oldest. I am not saying this because I want to sort of denigrate the Oba's palace. This is a piece of history. The Ogiamien's palace is the oldest in Benin. Alright? Now, why would Oba Erediawa in 1979, for 700 years, why would Erediawa present a royal stool to the Ogiamien? Why would Erediawa present a royal staff to the Ogiamien? Why would Erediawa present several gifts to the Ogiamien? And why would Erediawa pay homage to the Ogiamien? Another thing, why is it that the Oba's palace is all the business of the people of Western Oredo? The Eastern Oredo has nothing from that palace. The Eastern Oredo is the territory of the Ogiamien. Like I said before, the Price Commission made it very clear, and there is a law, and the federal government, because the British never conquered Nigeria. There was no Nigeria when British came. They conquered Benin Kingdom, a divided kingdom, and they kept that structure that way, and they documented it. And until they left, the Oba of Benin paid homage to the Ogiamien and performed the Ekiokpagha Treaty up to the days of Oba Erediawa in 1979. So, how do you defeat a man and you give him a royal stool before going to your palace to sit on a royal stool? How do you defeat a man, you come and you present him royal staff before going to your palace? How do you defeat a man? You pay him a homage when you do not pay homage to anybody in the whole of that kingdom. Oba of Benin never defeated the Ogiamien. It is an attempt by the late Oba Erediawa to distort history. But anyway, I'm happy that the Price Commission's recommendation is the basis upon which the federal government of Nigeria drafted the Western Region Law, Chieftaincy Law. And Ogiamien was not a chief under the Oba of Benin. And that law was signed by the late Dr. Eso Ogbemodia in 1968. That law was from a pre-colonial historical administration of this Benin City by these two kings. If the Oba never defeated Ogiamien in ancient days, the Oba cannot defeat Ogiamien today. This is the end of the story. Thank you all.